Track 9, Part 2. Listen to a tour guide talking about one of Beijing's greatest attractions, the Forbidden City. Questions 11 through 14. Complete the sentences below. Write no more than 2 words for each answer.
Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me? Good. Well, in front of us now, we have one of the most famous places in China, the Forbidden City. This was the palace of the Chinese emperors from the 15th century to the end of the 20th century. It was also the ceremonial and political center of government. The Forbidden City consists of 980 buildings. It's listed by UNESCO as the largest collection of wooden structures in the world. And in 1987, it was declared a World Heritage Site because of its cultural and architectural significance. During the early 20th century, it did suffer some damage. But now there's a 16-year restoration project to repair and restore all buildings to their pre-1912 state. Before we go inside the complex, I'll just mention the role of symbolism in the architecture of the buildings. Everything, from the overall layout to the smallest detail, was designed to reflect philosophical principles and the power of the Chinese emperors. Color had an important significance. For example, yellow is the color of the emperor. So almost all the roofs in the Forbidden City have yellow tiles. There are only 2 exceptions. The main library has black tiles, because black was associated with water, and therefore fire prevention. And the crown prince's houses have green tiles because green was associated with wood and therefore growth. Number and shape were important too. For example, the main halls are all arranged in groups of 3, in a shape representing heaven, and the houses are arranged in groups of 6, in a shape representing the earth.
Now listen to a continuation of the talk you just heard. Questions 15 through 20. Look at the map of the Forbidden City. Write the appropriate letter on the blank next to each question.
Well now, if you'll take out your plan of the Forbidden City, I'll mention a few of the landmarks before we go in. After walking through the entrance on the south side of the city, you'll see the Gate of Supreme Harmony directly in front of you. This is a large gate with 2 smaller gates on each side of it. It leads to the inner courtyard containing the Hall of Supreme Harmony. This building is in the center of the city, in line with the 2 entrances to the north and south. The courtyard that it stands in contains 3 halls, and it's the biggest of these. In fact, it's the largest hall in the Forbidden City, and is the place where grand ceremonies were held. Towards the northern end of the Forbidden City is the Hall of Heavenly Purity, the emperor's official place of residence, and where they dealt with everyday government affairs. Between this building and the north entrance to the city is the Imperial Garden, where members of the royal family could relax. The garden contains rare flowers and trees, as well as Chinese pavilions. Another palace worth seeing is the Hall of Mental Cultivation. This is next to the Hall of Heavenly Purity to the southwest. Originally, it was built as a minor palace, but from the beginning of the 18th century, it became the unofficial residence of the emperors. The famous 9-dragon screen, a beautiful wall with dragon carvings, lies to the east of the Hall of Heavenly Purity, at the entrance to the building next to the perimeter wall. It's the largest and also the oldest glazed wall in China, and it's very well preserved. In more recent years, the emperors had their own printing house in the Forbidden City, in the building known as the Hall of Military Skill. If you look at the southern section of the Forbidden City, there are 2 buildings almost opposite each other, one to the west of the central courtyard and one to the east. This building is the one to the west. Unless you have any questions, we'll go in now and I'll meet you.